Hi, and welcome to Book Talk with Lainey, because I talk about books, and I'm Lainey. We're almost at the end of 2023. I know. It has been the best reading year ever for me. I saw a booktuber that I follow on here. I'm gonna link her down below. Sara Carollis make this video. Since we're in 2023, the best 23 books that she read this year. And I thought I want to do this as well. Now, before we start, these are not per se 5-star reads. These are not the best books I've read. I have to explain this. More like what they represent for me. There are 5 stars in there. I'm gonna explain why these are the best books that I've read. Sometimes it's more like what they've shown me, what they did for my reading evaluation. You know what I mean? This is the only Christmas sweater I have because I don't like Christmas. Also, I am gonna move and to the floor. I'm gonna sit for this because I have a knee brace at the moment and it's really hard to stand for a long time. I'll explain as I go how this is gonna work. So yeah, let's go. Also, before we start, these are not in specific order. They're just the ones that I grabbed first. They're all here. And it's a mess. What I wanted to say, this was way harder than I thought. When I saw that inspired me to do this video, she said the same thing. She said it was really hard to pick out these books. I thought, she's so full of shit. That there's no way that is hard to do. I formally apologize because why was this so hard? I'm currently at 95 books this year. And I was thinking, oh, I've read so many great books. And I did, but why was this so hard? That's weird. I really hate the lighting right now. So give me a second. Even though I'm wearing the same sweatshirt because I kind of want to match, it is the next day because I was done filming the entire thing. And then I went to edit the video and it was in slow motion.
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
Everything was in slow motion. So here we are doing this again. I can't remember what I said. If I repeat myself, I can still edit it out. The books aren't in any specific order. They're just the ones that I can reach first because they're all here in a mess. So we're just gonna start. My chair is kind of uneven. Funny enough, even though I've been on Book Talk for years and a fantasy nerd since I can remember, I only read these books this year, talking about Agatar and A Court of Mist and Fury. I took these into here in this video because I also try not to take more than one book from a series, but sometimes there's a reason why. And in this case, the reason is, personally think, even if these are not the best book in the entire world, like these are the best book to get into the fantasy genre. And it's what it did for me, you know? It really showed me what I like in books, in what direction. So that's why these are on here, because they really helped me find what I like in books. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it makes sense in my brain, so. Now, this is the second book, actually, but I read the first book in December 2022, read this year, and it's also my favorite book. And this is basically, if you're a fan of Agatar, you should read this series. This is also just helping me find what I like in books, and it's also one of my favorite books and favorite book series ever, so. Now, some of these authors are in fact a little problematic, and I kind of out myself not to talk about them because bad publicity is still recognition, you know. But I can't change the fact that when I read this book, it was one of my favorite reads this year. And I'm talking about Fourth Wing. Because, like I said, I don't want to support the author, I don't want to talk about it, and also don't want to talk about it too much right now. But I can't change the fact that when I read it, it was one of my favorite books, and it still is one of my favorite reads this year.
This chair is constantly waggling. Jesus.
Oh, I know now why. It's not the chair that's uneven, there was a shirt underneath. So that's why this is on here, because it really is one of my favorite reads this year. And it also kind of pushed me into loving dragons even more. Yeah, I didn't think that was possible. Also, really fun fact, and really random. There is this TV show on Netflix. What the fuck was the name? something with unicorns, and it kind of reminded me of Fourth Wing because they go to this school and they have to bond with a unicorn. I don't know, I thought that was kind of fun. If I remember the name, I will edit it in. Now, these are from the same author, and technically they're like big series, but you get it. You'll understand in a second what I'm talking about. Carvel and Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Now, I loved this series so much because I loved the circus growing up. And I know it's technically a carnival,
because, well,
but it kind of pushed me back into loving the circus. I don't know, I just love it. And then the series that continues, right, is like a fairy tale. So these are kind of really nostalgic for me. That's why they're on here. And continuing with the circus, after reading Carvel, I read The Night Circus, and then I read The Carnival of Curiosities. Now, like I said, I've been huge into the circus growing up. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on here, but I'm a huge, and I think most people are, a huge true crime fan and dark history fan. If you watch true crime, you probably know Bailey Sarian. She's a huge YouTuber on here, and she has this series where she talks about the dark history, and she did a deep dive on the circus. And the circus used to be like people who are disabled or shown as freaks are the attraction of the circus, right? And this book did that, but without mocking the disabilities. And there's a huge disability reps that really love that. But they didn't do it as in mocking. It's more like a home, you know? That's why I really love this book, and also helped me get back into the circus. I don't know. I have Legendborn on this list because this book really helped me open up my horizon on the books that I read. And with that, I mean, at the beginning of the year, I was very hesitant. I used to read a lot of YA, right? I think because I'm almost 20, and a lot of books in YA are usually about younger people, and I kind of get weird feeling when I read about people that are younger than me. But also, I'm not a fan of urban fantasy. I do not like when there's technology in books. That's why also I don't really like sci-fi. But this kind of showed me that I can enjoy YA when it's done well. And it kind of helped me also get over this boundary of not reading YA anymore. So I still don't enjoy urban fantasy, but with this one, I didn't hate it, you know what I mean? And I loved the book, if that makes sense. And that's why it's on here, because it kind of helped me go past this, I don't want to read YA anymore, and seeing that if it's well done, I can really love it. And I did. It was so funny. When I bought this book, I read it in a day, and then I really wanted the second book, and that's the only reason why I left the house. That was a whole another story. While we're already on that topic of different genres, I used to read a lot of romance, right? And I've been in this do not want to read romance by itself. And even though I'm not going to finish the series, FYI, I did think this was a fantasy book, but that's on me. I still enjoyed this book even though it's not a fantasy. So this is also one of these books that I can say that even though they're not fantasy, maybe I will enjoy it anyway, and I don't have to be stuck on one specific genre the entire time, if that makes sense. Same goes with The Silent Patient, because like I said in the beginning, I really love true crime, thriller, and I'm a huge horror fan. And this kind of also put me back that I don't have to stick with one genre the entire time. Let's ignore the state of this book, because my dog, you know. But this, I kind of DIY'd it. It's a good girl's guide to murder. And this is also, I did not expect to love this series as I don't want to hold this anymore. Like, look at this shit. Oh my god. It's falling apart, bro. But this also showed me that I can enjoy YA that is not fantasy. It kind of just opened my view on shit. You know what I mean? That's why these aren't here. Not because they're like my favorite books of all time, and they're not necessarily a 5-star, but they helped me think and open up my horizon. And I think that's very important. Now, here are 2 books, again, simply because I don't know if you... Okay, I'll talk about this reason later on. Never mind.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Like, the Play the Prisoner series is my all-time favorite book series of all time. And I took book 1 and 2 because book 1 was not the best book in the series, but book 2 was a solid 5 or 6 star. That's why they're both in here, and they just are amazing, and I love them so much. And I just finished book 5, and I don't know what to do with my life now. But what I wanted to say is I have a weird thing for the first book of the series. I don't give a fuck if the first book isn't the most amazing book. Like this book, I went back and edited this to a 5 star. Initially, I think I gave it 4 or 3.5 stars. Now, it's the invitation, it's the entrance into this universe. And I love the Shadowhunter series, okay? I've read almost all of the books this year, and I first read this book this year, and I just love this book so much because it showed me the Shadowhunter Chronicles. I don't know, I'm a person, my favorite part of the entire series is the Mortal Instruments, so that's why this is here. Also, I'm a collector, right? I like to collect stuff, and I have a new mission that I want to get as many editions of City of Bones as I possibly can. I don't know why, I just want to. And then this book series, The Prison Healer. Now, this is on here because, listen, I'm pretty smart. Okay, I've got an IQ from 130. I'm pretty smart, okay? Never has there been a book that its plot has shocked me like this, okay? I usually figure out the plot. There's barely books that I don't see it coming. Not with this one. Dude, if I tell you, my jaw was dropped. Like, what the hell? This is why this is on here. This actually challenged my brain. This book is on here because I loved it and it really hurt my feelings. I just love this book so much. I can't stop thinking about this book. It's really weird. Now, I have Aragon on here because, again, with a book that is not in my typical reading genre, which it is fantasy, but it's general fantasy, and usually I read new adult fantasy, if you know what I mean. And this also helped me show that I can read more, I can get out of my comfort zone sometimes. And this is why it's on here, plus it has a dragon on it. This is on here because it's these hollow boughs. Because before I bought it, I didn't want to read this, and now I'm obsessed with it. And it's just not because the most amazing book, but I really loved it, and it was not what I think it was gonna be, you know? Sometimes you kind of have to ignore the back. That's why this is on here. This book is on here because it's one of my favorite standalones of all time. Adeline Grace has this amazing way of writing. You know how some authors just over-explain stuff with way too many sentences? She does this, but with one sentence, and you get the same vibe. I love it, and I love this book so much. Now, this book is on here because there is, like, I don't know how to say this, but a fantasy that has a low-key complex, not really complex, but a lot of going on and really nice writing, but it's not as, if you know what I mean, it's not a lot of action going on, but kinda is, and I really love this. Now this is on here because it's one of my favorite reads of all time this year and ever. It's Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. I have so many copies of this book, it's not even funny. This is just so amazing. Also, Ava Reid has such unique writing style. I cannot get over it. And it's so addictive, and it's so different from anything I've ever read. This is why it deserves everything. Now, I have Olivia Blake, Alone with You in the Ether. This is one of my favorite reads of all time because when I read this book, it was like somebody wrote down my brain, like scanned my brain, and then charged me $20 to read it. If you got that reference, let me know. And it's so funny, I thought this was literally me. And I thought it was unique because it speaks to so many people, since one of my friends is also one of her favorite reads, and I have BPD, and I thought this spoke to me. She has bipolar, and it spoke to her. I think this is so deep on so many levels that it just speaks to everybody. And already the last book, damn. Rebecca Ross, Divine Rivals. Now, I think this book is exquisite because it has the perfect balance of a cute fantasy with a lot of fantasy, with a real thing, but not too romanticized, and the real trouble of people and losing people in war and everything, but also a urban fantasy, which I don't usually like, but it's done well. You know what I mean? It's not really an urban fantasy, but it just makes this connection of urban and fantasy, but not too much and not too little, and I just love it. I think these are all. Yeah. These are my 23 best reads or books of 2023 for now. I don't know what's gonna happen because we still have like 2 weeks left. I hope this video was okay and not too boring. I hope it was like, I like these talking videos and just talking about books, and I hope it wasn't too boring. But anyway, let me know if you agree, disagree, what your favorite reads were this year, if you want to see me do this again, if you thought it was way too boring. If you like this video, give it a like, follow. If not, that's cool, we're chill. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.